All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Let's take it now to some potential players who could be cut. Offense only, looking at guys that aren't going to be cut right now, but when we get to the 53-man roster trim down, what players are currently on the roster bubble? Some guys that I think will make the roster but aren't quite set in stone yet. And we'll start with one of those guys in Alabama, or former Alabama halfback, Bo Scarbrough. Now, I know you guys love Bo. I get it. He's been great for Alabama at times. Alabama back, big bruising guy. I get why everyone watching the show loves him. But the reality is for Bo Scarbrough right now, as we sit here during OTAs, he is not even the number 3 back on the roster. He is closer to getting cut than he is to being the number 2 back. Now, I don't think Bo Scarbrough will be cut, but I do like what Scarbrough brings to the roster, because if he gets a chance, I think Scarbrough will thrive as a halfback. I think he'll be a good bruising back. But Rod Smith right now is the number 2. The battle is for the number 3 spot with Scarbrough. And that includes Darius Jackson, the Cowboys just signed. And don't rule out Trey Williams either. I was a little bit low on Trey, but he's gotten some nice work in OTAs and brings special teams value. And when you're looking for a number 3 back, you want somebody that can bring you that. Even Trey, by the way, got some work as return man this week during OTA. So I think Scarbrough makes the roster, but he is not a lock, and as of right now, he has some work to do to make that roster. Some more offensive players here. Wide receiver Terrance Williams, and he was not in danger of being cut before his arrest. Once he was arrested, everything changed for T-Will. If he's suspended, and this is how I think he ends up getting cut, the Cowboys can save $3.5 million in cap space. If he's not suspended, the Cowboys save zero money. And at that point, it doesn't make any sense to cut T-Will, because yes, he's inconsistent, he's a body catcher, and he doesn't get out of bounds like he's supposed to. But he does still bring some of the best production currently on the roster among Cowboys players. There is a role for him. It might be the number 4 receiver role or the number 3 and not the number 2 anymore. But if he is suspended, then you could see T-Will getting cut. But as of right now, with no suspension, T-Will is safe. But I would not be surprised if he's suspended that you see Williams get cut. So, folks, let me know, what should the Cowboys do with T-Will? I will take this stance here, and it's not really a shocking one. If he's suspended, then you definitely cut Terrance Williams. The reality is we're willing to look past various off-field issues if a player is talented, but when you're in the boat like T-Will, who didn't play that well last year, and then you get an arrest on top of that, that's when you find yourself on the roster bubble. Another receiver then, because it is going to be a battle for those 4th, 5th, and even potentially a 6th spot at receiver, is wide receiver Noah Brown. Now, I like Noah Brown quite a bit. I want him on the roster. I think he can be a good blocking receiver for you. Couldn't decide. I don't think that'll happen for the Cowboys, but it is an option there. Didn't make much of an impact last year, but I like what Noah Brown can do for you. He's been working out a lot with Dak Prescott. That's a good sign for Brown. But that last wide receiver spot or spots is going to be hotly contested for the Dallas Cowboys. Your locks are simple. Allen Hurns, Cole Beasley, Michael Gallup, those guys aren't going anywhere. I think those last 2-3 spots are up for grabs between Terrance Williams, Deontay Thompson, Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, and I'll mention Lance Lenoir. I had him unlikely the last time we did a depth chart look here, but he's made some nice plays during OTA. So I know the Cowboys staff likes Lenoir. I don't think he makes the roster, but he is a player to monitor. So, folks, let me know of some of those more top-end guys, which receiver is the most likely to be cut. Give me a heart for T-Will because you want him gone, a like for Noah Brown, a laughing face for Cedric Wilson, and a wow face for Deontay Thompson. I'll go with Terrance Williams because if he's suspended, he's definitely going to be gone. If he's not suspended, I think it might be Cedric Wilson instead of Noah Brown there, but we'll see what happens on that end. All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. We'll take it now to a player that I know you guys won't like being on this list. It is Rico Gathers, the tight end. Look at closely what the Cowboys are saying about Rico. They're not really heaping praise on him. They're saying, oh, he needs 5 practices a day. Even that wouldn't be enough to get him up to speed. So I want Rico to be on the roster because the best case scenario for the Cowboys is that Rico is your starting tight end because he brings you so much upside in the passing game. But the focus and the blocking are concerns right now for Rico. A couple other notes for you guys on Rico from OTAs. He was better this week. We not a great first week of OTAs, at least in the open practices. Better on the second one. Beat Leighton Van Esch on a crossing pattern for a nice gain, but it wasn't all perfect. He also had a T-Will moment where he didn't get out of bounds during a 2-minute drill. The Cowboys had to use a timeout. So the passing game for Rico is definitely there. I just want to see more from the blocking. If he thrives in the preseason, that's the best possible thing, because then he's going to be on the roster and gives the Cowboys a more dynamic weapon at tight end. And then one more quick note, Blake Jarwin has looked very good during OTAs. Kind of starting to see why the Cowboys hyped him up so much. I know you guys didn't like Rico. I think you'll like the next one, though. That is Chaz Green. Almost every week we get a comment of some type of cut Chaz Green. Why haven't the Cowboys cut Chaz Green? Well, the Cowboys haven't cut him because they do want to give him another chance. Remember, he was a 3rd-round pick for the Cowboys. They invested a lot in him. They want him to be an option, even if it's a backup option, an option on the offensive line. But he was a disaster last year. He wasn't that bad in 2016, but I think going from guard to tackle and back kind of actually hurt him a little bit. He allowed 4 sacks and 9 hurries. For note on the 9 hurries, that was as many as Zach Martin allowed all of last year, and Zach Martin had 4 times the snaps. Now, I know it's Zach Martin, and he's one of the best guards in the NFL, but that's not good production from Chaz Green. I would not be surprised if he gets cut. He is firmly on the roster bubble, battling alongside guys like Joe Looney and Marcus Martin, who's played both guard and center for the Cowboys in OTAs. So to recap, folks, the 5 guys who could be cut, notable players, of course, because no one cares if Marchie Murdoch gets cut outside of some Iowa State fans. Scarbrough, T-Will, Noah Brown, Rico Gathers, and Chaz Green. All right, folks, if you want to be featured on our next mailbag, we know that you guys like that segment. Get your questions in the comment section for our next mailbag. We'll do it on Sunday. Keep the questions and comments flowing. I love doing those. And if you guys missed anything on today's show, don't worry. We'll play it again here in just a second. Until then, we'll see you next time.